Yes, sir. Here we go, baby. Episode 4. 2 and
Quattro.
2 is 4.
See.
Live on the Kaspa Standard. Bishop and Juan getting after it. My friend, Pastor Juan, what is up, sir? A lot going on this past week, specifically in your ethos.
Yes, sir. Over here, just vibing in the present. I just got in a little late here this morning. Had to. Kids are off this week. No school down here. I don't know what it's like for your kid. I know some schools go to school. The kids go to school during the week and then get the latter part of the week off. No school, so picked up my son early today and running in just now, man. But yeah, man, a lot going on. The energy's super bright within Caspa this morning, right? Waking up and seeing where things are at. Caspa's the top performing cryptocurrency in the space at the moment. Um, no surprise there, but it's an up and down type of deal. But yeah, man, things are beautiful. How you feeling out there?
I'm feeling good, like you. Kids not in school this week. This is my season. If you're following the TW Takes podcast at TW Takes podcast on Twitter, um, this is TW Takes Giving. I
Ah,
go hard. So, and shouts to Alberto. He's in the chat already on Vivor. I mentioned to them like I appreciate that they put the turkeys down because they did a Halloween theme on Vivor and they got a Thanksgiving one now. And everywhere skips Thanksgiving. I grew up a massive Mariah Carey fan, and
oh yeah.
On November 1st, she's smashing pumpkins with sledgehammers because it's Christmas season, and it's not. It's not. She's the queen of Christmas. I get it, but that is that is left for Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving. I love it. I know in the Spanish culture, Christmas trees are ever present after Halloween. So not all, but I mean, yeah. So like, I love Thanksgiving season. Today, before we got on, I was out shopping with the kid. That's why I didn't get back to you on a couple of your messages. Yeah, we were out shopping, getting some last minute things to make sure we have for Thanksgiving. But I go hard, man. I'm making
Yeah.
10 different items this year. I do everything by hand, and we might end up making some fresh bread too. Haven't quite locked in a recipe I want to use, but yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, you sound
Yeah.
it. You sound yeah.
I love
Thanksgiving isn't really
it.
Thanksgiving isn't really a big thing for my culture, bro. For I mean, I grew up in the
Yeah.
U.S., right? I've been here, so for me, it's football on Thursdays. Excited about that, right? There's always a football game. The Cowboys playing the Packers, right? They're always on. The Lions, I think, are always on, and so it's been that. But I like to be thankful every single day that I can possibly be thankful for. But yeah, man, it's a big deal this week, right? It's like yeah, people get excited about this time of the year, right? Or
For
the
sure. Yeah.
holidays.
Alberto's in the chat saying that Easter rules. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Easter's pretty dope too. um, yeah, for you're right. Being thankful every day is a course correction that we need to do, right? Like even like Valentine's Day is another one too, right? Where it's why do you love me today? Love me every day,
Every day.
you know. Um, but no, I appreciate that perspective because I'm with you. Learning to grow as an adult and be thankful for every day, because it does feel different for us on Thanksgiving because we don't practice it every day, and
Mm.
being able to grow to that moment would be fantastic. And hey, there's nothing wrong with starting now, But yeah, so when I was a kid, broken home, parents split up when I was around 5, uh, and it was travel, 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 travel for holidays. So I said, as soon as I get a house, man, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere for holidays. And as a Packers fan, you're right. I'm either playing the Lions or playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I would say, if not every other year, like once every 3 years. And the Packers and the Lions being in the same division, they usually play the 12:30 game. So I remember going to my stepdad's mother's house for an old Italian family. So Italians get down when it comes to holidays. At 3 o'clock there'd be pasta, and at 4 o'clock there'd be a meat course, and then Then you'd have olives and lunch meats like prosciutto and all that shit. And then 8 o'clock is dinner. And I'm sitting around on the couch just watching football, doing nothing. So this is what we do to let you in on the TW Thanksgiving. This is what happens. The turkeys, yes, turkeys. That's two, and there's only three of us. And we invite my mother-in-law down, and this year, her dad's coming too. So there's only gonna be five of us. We put two turkeys on the grill at 7 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30, 12 o'clock, Thanksgiving is done. All the food is on the table. We eat and
Wow.
we're ready to go. So there's no distractions. There's no stopping from football. And my wife's a Cowboys fan, so her game is always the 3:30, 4 o'clock game. So the first year that we lived together, the Packers were playing the Lions at 12:30. I was like, well, fuck that. Let's have Thanksgiving done so we can just watch our games. And since then, for the last 12, 15 years, it's been the same way. That's all we've ever done. Yeah, about 14 years. In 14 years, we have it
That's
done by
beautiful.
noon. Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. And if you've done traditional Thanksgiving, the question I ask everyone: what's the best part about Thanksgiving dinner?
Mm.
Leftovers. Well, that's why we make two turkeys. Because the first year we did it, we ran out of turkey and we had all the sides. Well, all right, two turkeys it is. And I mean, right now turkeys are 29 cents a pound. So why can't you get two turkeys? So we're cooking 31 pounds of turkey.
Wow.
Yeah, and so many sides, stuffing. For my sweet potatoes, we do diced sweet potatoes and we put cayenne on them. We put hot with sweet. So yeah, stuffing, sweet potatoes, cornbread, mashed potatoes. This year we're doing mac and cheese, with broccoli, corn, Brussels sprouts. I got these Brussels sprouts I do with bacon and onions. It's just amazing. Um, yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. I fucking love Thanksgiving. It really brings me up. I was dancing last night. I was so happy.
Bro, you're getting me to dance right now. I'm like I wasn't that I was excited about the show, excited about the show I'm doing tomorrow, and I'm thinking, okay, man, you're bringing back some memories for me because it was about being with the family, and so for me, you just reminded me. My mom would always cook it's called arroz con gandules, so it's rice and peas, but she just made and she throw chicken in there and make the turkey, right? Because that's what you have to do. But I remember her arroz con gandules, which is rice and peas. You just brought that back for me.
Hell
Thank
yeah,
you,
you're
thank you for
welcome.
that, bro. Yeah, yeah. So traditions are a big deal, and I have traditions in other areas. Like I mentioned, I think I mentioned on a previous episode where I take my son to an away Bucks game. I've done that the last 4 years, and we've gone to a Bucks game every. He's 12 now, so we've gone to a Tampa Bay Bucks game every year since he was 4. We haven't gone to one this year. Um, just I've been traveling, went to Berlin for the Kaspa event, and just been doing other things, up to other stuff, in this new space with Caspa and whatnot. But no, I was like, we gotta hit a game, and they have three home games coming up, and I'll be in London next week at a tokenized event, Wolfie's Bar. I'm gonna meet. I've met a handful of the guys in Berlin, but reuniting with people there. My man Seb, looking forward to. He's a big part of the Caspa maps. Well, he's the one who's developing that site, and
That's what I say.
yeah, Caspa maps is awesome. So going to meet up with Seb and a handful of people there. The word is he's not on the agenda, but the word is Jonathan's going to be speaking at that event on Tuesday of next week. So that's where I'll be next week. But when I get back, we're gonna head up. We're gonna do a road trip. My son's like, when we doing this road trip? I'm like, you're right. We haven't done one up to Tampa, so it's a 4-hour drive from Miami, and they play the Saints on the 7th. So I just bought tickets for that yesterday or last night.
Nice,
Make sure we do that, right? So I'm gonna be in London from the 1st to the 4th. Get in Thursday, Friday. Actually, hitting up a little concert here in Miami Beach, and then Saturday morning getting up and driving to Tampa. Road trip with the boy. So
nice.
it's
That's
just
awesome.
traditions, man. Yeah, we got to keep those traditions alive. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I actually so when I was 22, I couldn't find a job. I left the job to go work at General Motors for the summer, and then once that shut down, I couldn't get a job, and I ended up going to work on a cruise ship in Hawaii. Now it sounds dope, but it was
Ooh,
very taxing. It was 100. I worked 139 out of 140 days, so it was a lot.
wow.
It was a lot. But I say that because traditions are important. I remember one of the girls I worked with. I took a pass to go on the cruise to like see the display or the presentations that they do, whatever it was. Excuse me. But this girl I work with, she was from the Isle of Samoa, and she did a traditional dance of her culture, and I just watched it and I go, I don't have culture.
Mm.
I don't have that, right? Like I'm Italian and Irish, right? And I grew up in an Italian household, so the way you sit around food and the feelings it brings you, Italian American, that is. I know we're a global podcast here, so but Italian American, like we would sit around the table and the way you talk, and that's why like I like doing the Thanksgiving the way I do because I can build some type of American tradition for my family, but yeah, traditions are so important, and unfortunately, as big as America is, the melting pot that it is, there is no like American style tradition, right? Like we have to go back to our own roots and then maybe figure out what we can build going forward. Because I worked with people from the Mid East, people from Canada, people from Mexico, people from Honduras, like all these different cultures around the world. And when they go home in America to do their thing, some may not be celebrating Thanksgiving this year or Christmas or what have you because it's not part of their culture. And it kind of feels a bit disconnecting. And that's why I like things like cryptocurrency and Caspa and truth in conversation because you can figure out where the lines don't need to exist anymore, right? I
Mm.
remember the first time I was exposed to Diwali, what that was. And it's this festival of lights for those in the Middle East. I'm not quite sure which religion it actually attaches to, so excuse me, but
Is it
um,
an Indian religion? Because I'm
well,
thinking. Do you
and
say
I know
Diwali? I
people.
just thought of.
Right, but I know people from other countries over there, like Nepal, who celebrate as well, and Pakistan who
Okay.
celebrate as well. So I'm not sure if it's specifically attached to culture. So I apologize. I don't want to, ruffle any feathers on that one. But the respect for that tradition and exposure to what that is, I was like, man, this is fucking beautiful. Like the way they present, I'm like, this is awesome, and it's part of why I have an issue with the religion. I know you do, your own connection to spirituality. It's like but like Christians aren't supposed to celebrate Diwali, right? Like think that that is a proper celebration of religion, right? And
Yeah.
it's so odd to have that stance and draw these lines. And when you take something, and again, I know this isn't a one for one comparison, but look at any cryptocurrency, right? It is permissionless, right? It is no lines drawn. We are on a global togetherness thing. And I think stuff like that that brings people together means that we can all experience these things, right? We can all experience each other without the guides of preconceived notions. Similar to sports, right? You go to a stadium
Mhm.
and most of the time it's either the team you're rooting for or the team that you're not rooting for. So if you're going to the Bucks game, right? You're most likely going to be an 80-20, if not 90-10 Bucks fans, right? And you're going to
Depends
be
on who
with
they're playing.
what yeah, yeah. Uh
Yeah.
so like you're going to be with your people and you're going to feel at home because it's the Bucks fans, but you're going to be next to black people, white people, brown people, like
Yeah.
you're going to be with the all of these people and you're not going to not that you do, but in the formal you're not going to care about those other things. You're going to be with Democrats, you're going to be with Republicans, you're going to be with atheists, you're going to be with religious people, you're going to be with everyone for that. And I think the closer we get to what that is, again, it could be the Bucks, it could be the Packers, it could be Caspa, it could be Bitcoin, it could be whatever. The thing that we do that I express to others, like we operate infallibility. So it's not about our stuff, our position is better than you. It's that let's sit here and enjoy this moment for what the moment is. And if something is, askew, we'll address it. But to build those traditions, to build those moments of togetherness, I think that's where traditions come from. If that makes
I'm
sense.
with. Yeah, man. I'm with you, brother. I mean, it's all encompassing, right? It's tying it back to what you're saying with with cryptocurrencies. Not all of them are like this. Not all of them are permissionless, borderless. But Caspa
Absolutely.
definitely is, right? Caspa definitely is, and I think that's why it resonates with people like you and I. And yeah, man, I'm a mixed. I did a 23andMe probably like 5 6 years ago, but I grew up knowing that the father that I grew up with wasn't my biological father. I did it really to confirm that, which it confirmed. What's interesting, man, is I didn't really have a relationship with, and I've shared how this has helped me see him a lot, better, and be able to connect with him and understand him. So it's interesting how you put that together, where when you just come and try to connect and meet people where they're at, where they're from, it doesn't matter if they're black, white, whatever. I'm all that. That's what I found out. I'm from Portugal, Spain. I've lineage over there. I have lineage in West Africa, North America. I was born in Panama, literally born in Panama, and fortunate that my mom met an American soldier and I was born an American citizen. How lucky was I? Because I got to go back when I was 7, 10 years old and be like, oh shit, I have air conditioning in my own room. And then I go meet my cousins for the first time ever. I'm 7, 8 years old. And then I'm thinking, there's two. Well, there was no AC in the house. And I remember getting bit by mosquitoes like crazy. And just being, at 7, 8 years old, being very aware of how lucky I was, you know. And yeah, I think this time of the year, being around family, having these traditions, connecting, it reminds us of what life really is about. It's about those moments. It's about sharing in that excitement and that energy. And I think a protocol like Caspa and living on the Caspa standard speaks to all that. So it is interconnected. Um, and being on something like this, bro, you can continue to level up, like you like to call it, right? So you like to say I'm on a level 10. I'm okay, cool. You're definitely not on a one anymore, if
For
that's
sure.
if you want to look at it that way, bro.
For
So
sure.
yeah, man, all these things absolutely bring out the best in humans, and you're able to see people for right where they're at, and that's a beautiful thing, man. Human connection. That's we've talked about this before, where you mentioned you got how many pairs of shoes, or you
Like
got all the
80, yeah.
clothes and shit like that.
Yeah.
And you realize, like, okay, it was cool to have that, but when you get to a place of what you talk about, right, with the mental sovereignty, you're like, okay, yeah, it's awesome to have all that shit, but is this it? Is this it? No, no, it really isn't. Everything, right? It's the connection, laughing with each other, getting after each other. Um, that's really where life happens, man. Right there, being alive in those moments. That's how I see it, bro.
No, for sure. For sure. I just went back to the stream page and shouts to Alberto. He dropped 10 cash in donations. Um, Appreciate it, sir. Bishop doesn't hate Christmas, he just loves Easter. I love it all. I don't hate Christmas. I just hate that people gloss over Thanksgiving. Um, no, you're absolutely right, man. And I appreciate you being so attached to where I'm at, to understand and see the micro growth that I've had. So I do appreciate that, because I do feel like I'm kind of at a level three. I have like another understanding of how to like just take a step forward. You had mentioned something um, on a few spaces, but we'll say it here too. You were speaking to someone about their plan to kind of take this big journey, right? And you looked at the plan and you go, yeah, this is shit. Because what I don't see here is the next step.
Ooh.
And and that was something that hit me. It's like, and of course, like therapy for 4 years, like the all the things that you could imagine that would take to have this internal thoughts. And I have a gear problem, right? I can't put myself in first gear. But when you said that, I was like, you know what? If I just slow the fuck down, just slow down.
Yeah.
Like, and I mentioned last week, like, okay, live life at the finish line, and what the idea was is Steve Bartlett said, like, um nobody's promised tomorrow, right? But it's most likely going to happen, right? Like the odds are most likely tomorrow happens, right? So like, don't live like today is your last, but live life at the finish line. So understand where you want to be. And then when I heard that and then heard you say, well, what's the next step? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. So we set up our business to do our business thing, and that was already in motion before I heard you say that. But then it came to these other things where my wife is like, "Well, did you do this? Did you do that?" I'm like, "Dear, only so much can happen right now,
Hmm.
and what I'm doing is this next step, right? And the hard part for me is releasing control. I allow other people to do their part without me calling them 3 times a day. You know what I mean? So like, but that's the next step.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, man, perspective is huge, and being able to just like, sit back and allow life to happen as you are taking control of your next step is it's really cool to watch. It gets nerve wracking,
Yeah, 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 because you're not
but
used to it. That's not.
it is really cool to watch.
Yeah, yeah. It gets nerve wracking because our nervous systems aren't they're wired to bring us all these signals. So discomfort, anxiety, fear, all those things are just signals from your nervous system telling you, hey, something's off here, right? And then depending on how old you are, you've been telling yourself a specific story on what that means. And then to unpack that, right? You mentioned therapy. And this is where for me, plant medicine has played a massive role over the past 7 years because I find myself in moments not even thinking, but just truly being. And that's what we are. We're human beings. So just even, I've noticed this about myself. I've always been very very aware of words and the way people speak about things, and then seeing, when I walk into a room or I meet people in real life, I like walking in and observing it and then just feeling the energy in a room. You can tell a lot about where someone's at. It helped me in my sales career. I started in my sales career selling Cutco knives, and it was nerve wracking. But I remember that was an advantage that I had when I would sit down with adults at 20 years old and just feel them out, really trust that instinct. And then I can't, when I would come prepared with the information, it wasn't about sitting there and selling anybody on anything. It was really about, okay, let me just be with these people and see what they're about and actually get to know them. And by the end of it, okay, they would get some stuff or maybe they wouldn't, but I was never attached to that. It wasn't about that. And um, that helped me absolutely just practice being in present. So I have 20 years of practice with this, and I can see it. I can see it with people who have been in that rat race, have been chasing this shit called money that really isn't. It's what is money? Money is an abstract form of conserving our energy, right? And we just do not. The dollar, the fiat system, what's been around specifically since 71, and what's been put in play. I've gone back on some videos. I think I've shared some with you this week, but I went back and looked at 300 years of history from 1694 when the Bank of England was came about, and William Patterson, he was I believe a British financier. But the debt-based system, man, mortgaging our future to live for today. That whole concept, right? That's been in play for 300 years. That's been in play for 300 years, and um, we're living that. So a majority of people are living in that cycle, and they're not. There's no cognitive awareness to that. So it's caused a lot of this not being present. What do I got to do? When do I got to get it done? Let me put a 10-year plan together, a 5-year plan together. And it's like, bro, I can show you receipts on what it's like to just be here and be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna make something happen, but let me dance in this energy of today and do what I got to do right now, and then figure out the next step after that. No, I'm not going to set goals this year. It started like 6 7 years ago for me. I'm not setting goals this year. I've been wanting to
Right.
make six figures for a long ass time. I'm not going to do that. Let me just figure out how to be today, and then shit would just show up, man. Things would happen. I would figure out the next step, and then that's when oh shit, that's when you start to meet opportunity right there, because you're very aware of what's in front of you. You don't miss the signals, you don't miss the connections, and everything just starts flowing. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if I've shared this, bro, but I have made 50 grand in a day. I've made 100 grand in a week. I've made $250,000 in a month. In my best year, I made 1.6 million. So, and this is coming from somebody who came from nothing. So that happened not because I'm special or better than anybody. It really happened because I practice presence. I practice being right here. And it's really not as difficult as it's made out to be. It is in that debt-based system. And that's, so gamifying that took a while. Took a while understanding the game. But once I understood the game at that level, bro, then I can play. Now you can play. And I'm telling you, it happens like that, right? It happens like the opportunities present themselves. So, money
Oh, for
money for me
sure.
has come in
No,
chunks, and that's the reason. It's I've been playing this shit for 20 years, bro. It's been 20 years like this, and it's you don't really need all that money to experience life at its fullest right now. That's the other part of this, bro.
absolutely not. And that's something that we talk about a lot is disconnecting from what that piece of the matrix is, right? The idea of being beholden to the fiat system. Another thing that you say a lot is, or at least to me, um, going to work for a paycheck, you're leveraging your 40
Mhm.
hours to someone else's idea of your worth, and that's backed by a paper dollar that may or may not have real value. Um, and I think that's just a brilliant way to look at
I've
it.
been playing this shit for 20 years, bro. It's been 20 years.
I'm trying to make clips and it keeps putting the
Yeah,
the
I
audio
heard it
back
play
up.
back.
Um, you heard it back, yeah. Well, with Black Friday coming up, I do have a couple computers bookmarked.
Nice.
I do need a better setup, so I'm ready to go. I talked to Silver a couple times about so that node that he runs. I think I'm gonna get that computer, run the node, and do the show from there because it has literally 3 times the capacity that my laptop does that I'm doing on it right now. So even if you put the node on there, it's gonna have more, more functionality than my laptop does by itself. So I don't run a node yet because I don't have enough memory at the house to do that. I just got a bunch of old shit. And then doing this, it's we push the limits every week of what we can do from a broadcast capacity. So, um, speaking of broadcast, though, we have our first guest speaker. If you'd like
Oh,
to
we
allow
got
him in,
Buffalo
and
on the panel. He's had his hand up. We
yeah,
love Buffalo.
hell yeah, why don't you yeah, invite him in?
Go ahead, Buffalo. What you got, brother? Good to see you.
Hey, hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted to be here and let you guys know I appreciate you all doing this in the morning. This is nice. I know we don't have a lot of open spaces in the morning, but I appreciate you guys are here and I'm digging what you're talking about. I have a bunch of thoughts on it, but at first I just wanted to just say, yeah, fucking glad you guys are here and glad you guys are making it happen. I really appreciate this content.
Yeah, brother. Thank you.
I
Yeah, man.
appreciate you,
Thank you.
Buffalo.
Thank you. And I made an announcement on the I've been uploading YouTubes for the past, I want to say, month and a half, 2 months, somewhere around there, where I'm not gonna do. I want to bring everything to here. I want to be live on the Caspa Standard with Bishop. I've had fun doing this. Again, this is our fourth episode, and the audience isn't big. It's not about that, right? For now, and that's okay. This is really about just showing people a new way of vibing in the world. And yeah, man, Buffalo, we appreciate you. We've obviously met Buffalo on a bunch of spaces, and he comes to the blockchain banter chat that we have on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, brother, appreciate you coming on and supporting. We're just getting rolling with this, man. We're having fun with it.
Yeah, no, I'm digging it.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Buffalo. I just want to let you know you are the first voice guest
Yes,
on Live on the Castle
yes,
Standard,
sir.
which is really cool. So mark that down in your history book.
Oh shit, man! I didn't even wear a suit. I feel undressed for this occasion.
Uh, Juan's wearing a sleeveless T-shirt
Yeah,
right now,
jump on Vivor.
so you're perfectly
I'm
dressed.
wearing
it's
what
it's
I went to bed when I went to sleep in. I've been wearing it all day, so we're chilling. You're good.
so what I'm hearing is I'm talking to men. All right, I like it.
Yes, sir.
It's all right. I can have 8 million
Shouts to
in the bank.
Alberto.
I can have 8 million in the bank, drive a Toyota, and wear a t-shirt and jeans for a week. I don't give a fuck.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah,
Let's do it.
for sure.
I tell you, I would love nothing more to Adam Sandler it. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
love
Give me
him.
all the money in the world, and I show up to your event in a hoodie and gym shorts.
I,
Believe
I
that.
love Sandler's
I would
style,
never
brother. I
change.
love Sandler. I love his style, bro. That's
Adam,
living
what are you
right
doing?
there.
I'm here. You asked for me to come up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. You're like, I'm not at church, right?
yeah. All that's too much. It's what we say down here is mucho show. Like that a lot. Like ugh, shirt and
Yeah,
tie. No, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not
yeah,
that's
none of us
not
are
it
people.
for us. No, thank you.
No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. But I wanted to touch on a couple subjects, a couple things that you
Go
mentioned,
for it.
which I thought was interesting. So you were talking about being able to make, I made this much money or I did this, and and you brought it back to kind of this energy field, which is so fascinating because I think that, believe it or not, Juan, this is still like new understanding of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
the fact that you tapped into it and been like, okay, I'm going to be present. My goals are going to be clear in my brain, but I'm going to be able to sit with people. When it comes to that, uh, and I'm going to explain what you did, which is really really cool. So when we want relationships, oh, good. I wanted to touch on a couple subjects. Oh, I'm getting some feedback.
That was me. No, I got it. You're fine. Just keep
Okay.
going. That's me.
So it's just kind of interesting, man, because when we want to build relationships, when we want to have a good community, that's kind of where we have to hit people, right? We just have to be human with them. We have to be like, okay, I'm right here. I'm going to sit in this moment and operate. And I like how you leveraged, and I use that word because you definitely have. I'm going to leverage my understanding of sitting with people and being in the present, and I'm going to leverage that to fulfill a need, but also make profit. And I think that's true in like everything, because if you want to make money, you have to deal with people. And if you have love for people and you can have, patience and respect for people, you can be honest and genuine and make that connection, but also you can make profit, right? So we can help each other. And I really dug that, man. Like, because it's absolutely true. Because this science of energy, I don't even want to say science, like this understanding of how this works, um, is just it's so new. I mean, what was it? Only 10 years ago, we had this Japanese scientist have really he just tested water, and then he froze the water and then looked at it, right? He froze the water, and he looked at it under the microscope, right? And he had really angry feelings, and the water changed. And then he had really positive feelings, and he was talking about love, and it had this beautiful molecular structure. And he froze it and just kind of like did this. And I was like, yeah, human energy is powerful. It's so wild. So for you to leverage that and to understand that at such a young age, uh, and to make it profitable for you, bro, props. Smart man right there, Juan.
Yeah, you speak to something. You're like what you're saying is it's not as well known, but I'll tell you that people that get that what you just said with understanding that it's an energy transfer, right? And so think about what the messaging is in the masses, the programming that we see on TV. Most of what attracts people is is the negative or glass half empty. And I think I'm very fortunate because my world was opened up when I was 20 years old, well at 18, 19, when I met my foster family, and I was able to take a look at some of the ways that I was brought up, and my relationship, the relationship and the energy that I had towards money prior to meeting my family, or meeting the foster family, was all about there isn't enough of it and you gotta hoard it. That played into me not even giving a shit about it or caring about it. And what I learned was looking at that from an abundant standpoint. So what that did is it, energy, what does Nikola Tesla say? If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's really what money is supposed to be. Money's supposed to be a representation of our energy. And we've just been in this debt-based system where the mechanism in which most people save their money is something that literally devalues your energy. So you may go out and work and store it in what's been the dollar, over the past however many years. Um, and we know now that that's being inflated away. You have no say in terms of the supply of that, and that deflates and takes away your energy. So when you don't attach yourself to that and understand, hey, my value, I'm not going to put this cap on it or what it's worth. You're able to bring out your gifts, and that's what I was very fortunate to do very early in my life. So I understood, like I grew up in a household where my dad was in the military. He went to work every single morning, and he got a set amount of money every single month, right? So I got to see that. And then with my foster family, they owned a business, and I could see that their energy and them giving value to the community. So they owned a catering business that was very well known in the area, and I would see that, Gary, my foster dad, and Lucy, the way they were and the way they interacted is what helped attract business. And so I was able to compare and contrast that, and then bring that into my life, right? So I knew that, okay, as long as I bring value to these people, I'm going to attract what I'm not going to put a cap on it. I'm going to attract whatever it is that I'm worth. And because I always looked at it like there was an abundance of it, I was able to attract it in chunks. I've been able to do that for the past 20 years. And I could not relate to most people my age, because most people would go home for the summers in college, and I'd go home and sell. I get really good at presenting, being with people, and then not giving a shit if I sold anything or not. That's literally how my energy was. And that would attract, these massive sales and these huge commissions. And it was really, really hard to articulate and explain that to people, because the messaging and what we get from most of society isn't that. It's this, oh, you got to put in your time, and you're only worth this amount. But it does take an energy shift, a mind shift, in understanding that there is this whole, and that's why I think, again, giving props to Bitcoin kind of flipped it. We didn't have something that we could store our energy in, unless you understood gold. I didn't understand. I think gold was probably the best form prior to Bitcoin. And then that's why Caspa makes so much fucking sense to me, because I'm not going back to how I was bringing value at a table presenting a product. I wasn't attached to making a sale. It was about a win-win situation for me. And that's why I was able to see Bitcoin the way I saw it, and then eventually Caspa when it presented itself, to see it for what it is, right? This is a protocol where I literally can store my energy, and understanding that the nominal terms and what that does, that's a whole nother layer, probably a whole nother, we can do a whole episode on that. But it takes a lot. It takes quite a bit of, I've been fortunate enough that I was able to stack enough energy. Think of it this way: I was able to stack enough energy. My business shut down October 2023, and I still had the energy of, okay, let me go out there and figure out what I'm going to do next. But because I had enough energy stacked, I was able to dive into all of this info over the past 2 years and not be in a rush, and be able to vibe. So for me, it's like, okay, when I got on the spaces, I'm like, all right, let me reach out to Onion. I'll reach out to Nakasompo. Bishop did the same thing with me. Like, as soon as Bishop heard me, sent me a message. So that's us vibing into this energy of abundance and connecting. And I've seen this play out. It's only going to attract. Again, I'm not going to put a cap on what this is going to be, because this has happened for me multiple times over the past 20 years. So it's only a matter of time. We're getting a little taste of Caspa's potential now, but we don't even know, bro. We don't even know, because this is going to open up so much for so many people, to opt out of that system that literally extracts and takes your energy away from you on a second per second basis. You know?
Something that I completely agree with, and we've been talking about this too. So since my recent self discovery, I've listened to a few different people. One of them is Billy Carson. I don't believe everything he says, but I'm intrigued by a lot of what he brings up. And one of the things he said was, the universe is 13.8 billion years old, or something like that. That's what we know scientifically of what they've been able to calculate, right? to think that any atom, since matter cannot be created or destroyed, right? You cannot make it, you can't get rid of it. It always disperses and goes into something else. Okay. Every single atom inside of us is 13.8 billion years old. We die, we decompose, we get cremated, what have you. We enter the ethos as different atoms and they reformulate into something else, because just because we're gone doesn't mean what made us isn't. Um, so to think that those things can happen on a micro level, like Buffalo said, speaking to water, adjusting the
Mm,
atoms, speaking to me, adjusting my atoms. We are all connected. And I'm not even woo woo like that. That is just scientific math. Like that's straight
yes.
math. 1 + 1 = 2, right? Like if atoms can't be created or destroyed and ours just so happen to make up people, it doesn't mean that when we're gone, they won't make up something else. And they will, because 13.8 billion years ago, we were something else. And this is just how we are. And since we're here, we need to operate with the unseen, which is energy, which is connection, which is, those, and that's where you enter into respect and appreciation. And, again, I don't enter in conversations without truth. So I don't care if you're a Bucks fan, I'm a Packers fan, or you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat, or I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat, or I'm white, you're black. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There's truth there. And the truth in operation is be humble, be kind, right? Like it, if you don't think you're bigger than anyone else and you treat everyone with civility, you will get really fucking
Yes.
far. And the energy disbursement will lead you into trees. Like again, I've listened to every blockchain banter beneath the surface, and I hear so many things on there that, from a systemic belief, I don't agree with. But I really enjoy all those people, and I would never judge an opinion or a belief for who that person is, specifically if they can articulate why they
Mm,
feel that way. And that, in my opinion, is an agree to agree. I agree that they feel correct. Therefore, I agree with their agreements. If I agree to disagree, then I'm choosing to judge them based on what they believe, and that's not cool, man. Like that's not who they are. That's how they're showing up. And if that's how they show up for themselves and their family and the people that they need to support, by all means, that energy exists and it's real. So why would you deny people that? And that's where I think me and you, we really clicked, because and look, I know, and the people who have reached out to me, um, they hear me talk, and the biggest response that I get is that I sound real. I sound true. I present stuff in a way where
100%.
not that I'm right.
Yeah, it's
You
not
know what I mean?
about
Not that
that.
I'm right, but
Hmm.
that what I'm saying is
Yes.
true. It's like, wow, that's a great perspective. You're able to deliver true stuff, and like that's all that matters. Like that was why I reached out to Neo. I reached out to you. I've attracted to Buffalo and Onion and Kara and VJ. Like operating in truth is how you succeed going forward. So like that's what I think Caspa has truly brought to the forefront, is because the second something doesn't look right, Caspa has a conversation as a community and goes, you know what? I really hope they're working on this. I really hope they get there. They should be looking into this. Vivor's a great fucking example of it. The entire Casper team, they put an early adopters Telegram chat with like 5 of us, and I happen to be one of them, and I appreciate that. And what happens is, I know I said it. I'm sure they were working on it, but I was like, hey, what if you guys attach Cassia messaging so we can see the chat better? They did that. You know what I mean? I asked them about the file storage, because Onion keeps bringing up file storage on Caspa, right? I was like, hey, what about doing the file storage so the videos can stay forever, right? Because videos don't stay forever on Vivor, but it's an early system, and what they're doing is they're open to change. They're open to conversation. They want to be better. And to your point, Juan, they're they're harvesting their own energy on Caspa. They're not getting paid for this, right? They're not VC backed. They might have someone who goes, yeah, we'll pay you for your time to be over there. Maybe, I don't know, but it doesn't come from Kaspa miners that are specifically for developers to make sure that they get paid for the work they do. That's not how that works. They have to create their own time, their own energy, and invest it into this. And what they get out of that is use case. And I believe it was on Blockchain Banter yesterday. They were talking about, if I give my energy to the network, the reward is number go up, right? If we build what happens and what happens becomes undeniable, then there's no choice but the number to go up. So it's not about making sure the number goes up. It's about securing the network to make the network undeniable, and being open to change to grow that to make it bigger is where the reward actually comes from. So the payment is 100x. The payment is 200x. It's not necessarily getting money now for your job, right? We're live on the Casper standard right now. Again, shouts to Alberto. We're up to 25 cash in tips today. That 25 cash could be worth $100. We just made
Yeah, I'm not putting a
2,500 today.
cap on it,
Down the
bro. I
line,
see that's
you know.
where.
No, same. I'm just saying, in
Yes,
context of
yes,
conversation, that the idea is that it's at 5 cents today doesn't mean that it's the work we're putting in now is worth $1.25, right? No, it's worth 5 cents today. So, right, $1.25. So like this show isn't worth $1.25. This show right now is worth 25 cash,
yeah,
right? And because 25 cash is 25 cash, and that will show up how it does later, and the fruits of the labor and the reward of the time and the effort and energy will be in its future value, because the natural state of the free market is
yes,
deflationary. So we're not mortgaging our future for more debt. We're mortgaging our time and energy of today for the future of what's possible in a permissionless system, live on the Casper standard.
yes, yes. Oh, bro. I mean, you speak to the soul, and there's so many connections in what you said, specifically with talking about the people that you mentioned, right? Anya and Buffalo on here, who we've had the pleasure of talking to several times. And Buffalo, I'll give you a second right after I share what I wanted to share about this and what Bishop said. Um, you know, specifically speaking to how how the Caspa community comes together and how we speak in truth, and what you talked about, where people, what they tell you, what we have in common is that you can feel the authenticity in people, right? And it isn't about being right or wrong. It really isn't about that. And that's where, for me, I know that. See, I took this course when I was 20 years old with this thing called landmark education. And this was back in the early 2000s. And it talked about,
Oh,
yeah, so you're familiar with it? Yeah. So it talked about transformation. It talked
bro,
about,
I
Woke
got
me up.
so much to say about it.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
awesome.
go.
Awesome. So I want to share this story. So transformation, I was opened up to that when I was
So
when I was
loud.
20 fucking years old, bro. And I remember being like, oh shit, I have the secrets to life. I'm 20 years old. And I remember being in this course with all these 40, 50-year-olds. And they're like, oh my God, had I gotten this and understood that I could come from, they have a concept calling it coming from nothing, and then really creating your words, creating your world. And just having that flip for me, which is very similar to what this Bitcoin and Caspa protocol is doing with money. And I had that, and I remember trying to articulate and tell my friends about it. And a lot of what I'm getting right now with, whether it's the Bitcoin Max, he's talking about their first that they've already won, all that shit's coming back to me 20 plus years later. And then I feel it within the Caspa community, where it's like we're not attached to these narratives. And yeah, there's some shit that's out there that we continue to say over and over again. But for the most part, when you get to the depths of what people are here for, it's like, hey, we just want to know the truth, and we want to get to the truth. And again, speaking to, so the story I want to share is like, here's a distinction that I made taking a landmark when I was real young, and I realized that what's right for one person and wrong for another person can be completely different. And I think the distinction I had was the story of when I was really young. It was when I went back to Panama for the first time. So I'm 7, 8 years old, and I remember being on the patio with my cousins and family there, and there was a roach. There was a roach there, and I look over and I go, bicho, 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 and then out of which means cockroach in Panamanian Spanish. And out of nowhere, my dad smacks me across the head and he's like, "Hey, watch your mouth." And then my mom like comes to my defense and says, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Hey, you don't say that. That's a woman's private parts." Now my dad's Puerto Rican, my mom's Panamanian, right? I grew up in my household speaking Spanish to my mother, English to my father, and my brothers. So I was confused. I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. But to him, I did, because he's Puerto Rican and that's a bad word, right? and and I remember thinking, oh shit, I can't, I can't be fully, I can't express myself, you know. And that to me was an aha. What's right for me isn't right for the next person, or what's wrong to me isn't wrong to the next person. But that is something that I draw comparisons to whenever people try to tell me I'm right about this, or I'm wrong about that. I really do try to stay open. And you and I have talked about it. It's like, hey, it's Caspa right now, but I have it on my profile. I'm attached to nothing, connected to everything. So the beautiful thing about this ethos and this community is that you do see innovation, you do see it continuing to build. There's a roadmap to where it can go and what this technology can do. And as long as that continues to stay in play, I mean, there is no limit to where this is going to go. There is no limit whatsoever. So that's one of the beautiful things that I love about this community. You don't have to agree with everything that I say or Bishop says. You can come with your truth, and you're not going to be ostracized and told have fun saying poor or any of that bullshit,
Yeah.
because richness and poorness, it doesn't have anything to do with the fucking amount of money that you have to begin with. And that's what's missing in this space that people don't really get. It's that's why I say, to me, this isn't an investment. It literally is an opt out into a brand new system that we are just scratching the surface on, that we're just scratching the surface on, and people don't really understand it. So I've seen this play out before. When I was talking about transformation and a whole new way of looking at the world 20 fucking years ago. And bro, you know what I ended up doing is I used it as an advantage to myself in life. It's how I build my life over the past 25 years. And it's like, oh shit, I get another opportunity to kind of bring this to people that can speak and see the same energy, the same language. So much more to say there, but that's what you brought up for me, breaking it down the way you did.
Yeah, and real quick before we jump into Buffalo, I just want to say, the only agreements that I want people to have with any of us is the agree for step one, which is the conversation.
Mm,
Um, like I said, agree to agree, right? You might not be on my side of the table or in my industry or what have you, but if you can agree that perspective makes sense for conversation, I'm all in. I am all in, and that's why on the last blockchain banter beneath the surface that you guys had, where that guy jumped in, where he had no desire to have conversation. He just wanted to do the Bitcoin style of Twitter Spaces. That energy just doesn't exist on, I would say, every Casper space I've ever been on. That energy has never exist, except for sometimes Warrior might get to his levels of
we haven't had
warriorism.
him on a spaces in a while, but Warrior is there.
Yeah, it's been a while, but and that's no shade. There's a lot of
Of course not.
passion there. But that type of energy, it's always about agree about perspective and then conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. So, but yeah, go ahead, Buffalo. What do you got?
Oh, damn, dude. I'm about to drop so many hammers you don't even know.
Let's bring it. Bring
Let's
it.
get it.
Oh man. I don't even want to I want to like start from the end and go back up. So okay. So I remember putting out a casual Caspa, and it took about an hour for people to get in. I had some close friends come in, and they want to support and all that. We're having some good conversation, whatever. This is the last episode when Kara was talking about what was going on with Unchained and all that business. And bro, Warrior just went after dude. He just went after him because and I don't blame him for it. Dude was talking about like opinions, like, we need basically what he was doing is we need centralization. And I don't know if you've talked to Warrior, but if you say that kind of shit, he's going to go after you.
Yeah.
110. He's like, what the fuck? You don't want freedom? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on with you? So just kind of wild. But I just wanted to speak to that because that's kind of that's the mentality that Caspians are. Like, it, 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 it- they don't want a cap. like you're talking about, Juan, and it's true. So the mentality that you have makes sense as to why you're in this position
Mm.
and why you're capitalizing and being a voice, because you're like, hey, this is the business. Like, we're honest, we're truthful, we're looking for truth, we're being in the moment, we are creating things. I've created things, you know. I want you to create things, and that's kind of the position that you're in. So I dig it, and you're right. So within that realm, I want to talk to you about Landmark, because I did Landmark in 2016,
Ooh, love it.
and I met the woman that I wanted to marry during that. She didn't hold the value system the way that I did,
Hmm.
because, well, she had her own problems, but that's not the point. Point is that I find it funny that the last two relationships I've had have had connections to Landmark. It's wild, man. Because once you're in that space, once you're in this space, like Caspians, it's very, very similar. So Landmark came from PSI seminars.
Right. Yeah.
You know this.
Right.
And they've been around for 50 years. And what they do is they create a community that has a mindset. Well, they pull in people that have a mindset of helping each other and being productive and getting shit done. And that's not everybody. Let's be real. It's not. So it was interesting. I did a PSI seminar, and then I signed up for next level, whatever you want to talk about. But then it's just more education. And from the shit that I learned from when I was in school versus the shit that I've learned through PSI, and to make it clear, uh, there is a lot of. I mean, we can talk about America as well, but it's all kind of this Christian ideology. But the thing is, that's crazy, is that it fucking works, because whether you believe in Christianity or not, it works. So it's like, hey, you're human, you're this way, and this is how you want to operate if you want to be productive, or if you want to grow, if you want to achieve things. And of course, in PSI seminars, they don't do that. They don't say why or where. They don't bring religion or anything like that into it. But I know where it came from, because I'm an analyst mentally, and I want to know every fucking thing ever before I walk into it, right? Just like a man, like, oh, you walk into a restaurant. Well, I'm going to put my I'm going to put my back I'm not going to put my back to the opening door. We're always going to be ready, right? So it was just it like what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me, not because of any other reason than your training, and you're not an idiot. So I think that's kind of the whole deal. Yeah, Onion can shit post and whatever, and stir up some shit, but Onion's very smart. He's a
Oh
he's a
yeah,
smart kid.
he is.
And no, exactly. Yeah, no, he absolutely is. So, I mean, he can shit post and whatever, but that's freedom, right? That's what we have in the Caspa standard.
Mhm.
That's what we have in this group of people. And bro, oh, like attracts like. And when you have freedom, permissionless money that only goes up, you have so many sheep out there that don't understand that. And of course, we continue to try and teach, and then we hit a wall with the BTC maxis, because their number go up, and they don't care, because they're fine living in in the standard that they're in. But the Caspa standard is different. So we will attract more and more people like us, and we can be kind enough and loving enough to teach them and share with them, hey, this is what's going on. You've had the wool pulled over your eyes, and you think that money's okay, you think that everything's fine, and then they feel it in their pocket, they feel it in their life, they feel it in their family, like when things are hard. Absolutely. So it's like, hey, we have another way. And I think that it is such a great thing to give to someone. I mean, it's so very similar to the PSI and the landmark being like, hey, you can operate on energy and you can make production cool, but your production doesn't go down in value. And it is what human beings, in my opinion, are looking for, is like, hey, I can go do a thing, I can save some of that from the profit of the thing, and it continues to go up. Because when you invest in the dollar, it goes down because they print more. Okay, obviously. But it really does make you sovereign.
Yeah.
I don't mean to go I don't mean to go completely off, but I'm just saying, like, I feel you from where you're coming from, but also, like, what Caspa has to offer is something that no one can take away from you and everyone will want.
Yeah, it stands on its own. You know, it stands on its own, and it is an
For sure.
evolution. You know, so what I see in the practice of, you know, I mentioned earlier, what was landmark for me, because for me, I did the course, I did the advanced course, and then I took this communications course, which set me on a whole new frequency of
Hell yeah,
how
dude.
to speak, right? How to speak and speak my. So I understood that the way I speak, that's gonna project the world that I'm gonna live into, and I have evidence. I have receipts of this. I can show you 20 years of how my life has gone from, oh, you know, you think the next step is this. No, I get to experience life on a whole new level. So
One, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just saying, biblically, they talked about this biblically like 3,500 years ago, and
okay.
it's still true. It's still true. We speak what we want into existence.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of that's the energy that's been, you know, so when I hear people go against that, I get, okay, they're just, you know, they're not ready for that messaging yet, and they're stuck in their narrative or their world and their worldview. So I don't even look at that as, you know, going back to what's right or wrong. I meet someone there, and I've had so much practice with this where it's like, you know, I've shared that I've been able to get somewhere around 50 people to download a Caspa wallet and get Caspa, because I simplify it from wherever they are at, right? And that also helped me in sales. It helped me create businesses. It helped me get to where I am in life right now. And again, it takes practice to be able to see that. And what I do love about the Caspians is, you know, even though we get the shit posting from Warrior and from from Caspa Onion, is there's the other side of it. There's Bishop. There's you, Buffalo. Well, I know Buffalo does some shit posting too, but my point is that all of it encompasses what the at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is just share this perspective that is absolutely available to everyone right now today, right? So I shared this on a previous episode that people, you know, that's why for me, I never paid attention to politics until last year. And then I voted with, and I'm not going to participate in that because I see the polarity in what that is doing. And I know that the fix doesn't come from that system. We have evidence. We have over 300 years of evidence of what is happening there. It's not going to fucking, the debt is insolvent. We're
For
not going to be
sure.
able to pay that back. We've mortgaged the shit out of our future. And I have a child. I have a kid. And it's like, I am living on this standard now. And I get that most people aren't going to get it in that first conversation. But what does it feel like when you hear somebody like Bishop talk or Buffalo speak? What does it feel like when you hear our energy? You hear and feel our energy, right? That's where people are going to be like, huh, what are these guys? Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's going to get people to dig in a little bit more. And you know, again, we're just scratching the surface with this. But I do see what I learned in Landmark, and then obviously having this new monetary policy. Again, giving Bitcoin its props. Bitcoin's the one that flipped it, and it's just going to continue to evolve. But this is all available to people today, right now, and that's why it's important to have these conversations as often as we can and try to bridge those gaps and have patience with people, including the BTC maxis, including people who label themselves a specific thing or what they think they are. You know, at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We all want, to love on each other, appreciate each other, and just advance in life and enjoy this life. Buffalo, you haven't been on before. I don't know if you've heard me say it, but go back. I got this from Alan Watts. But what's the meaning? What's the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to be alive. That's what it is. It really is that simple. Being alive, being right here. So, yeah, man, I
Well,
appreciate you chiming in on that.
yeah. And let's just for a moment, give Bishop the floor here in a second. But
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
just within that, um, I don't think that a lot of people, because of the pressure, because and I'm going to speak to men because I think it's really heavy. Um, when okay, this is what's fucked. When we go out and we hunt and we get that meat, we don't lose it. It doesn't degrade as if we didn't put it in cold storage or we didn't do
Mhm.
whatever we needed to do. We use it and then we go out and we hunt again. And what we've done, and I'm not saying I'm very big on the government, obviously. This is what's going to come. But when we put out our energy to get resources that degrade and we have no way of storing it or putting it in the cold or whatever it is, our energy is valued less. That's going to take a toll mentally on a man. It will, because the whole idea is to take care of the village, to take care of the family, to take care of the things that we hold dear. And when we have that thing, let's say money, that we use to take care of other people and it gets stripped from us, not only does that mentally fuck us because then, we have this idea like, okay, well, I didn't do enough or I'm not giving enough or whatever. It's like,
And
no,
that's all
no.
bullshit.
You're absolutely right. It's all bullshit. For the last 5 years, we've lost 25% of our money.
Yes.
It's fucked. It's absolutely fucked. So people are like, oh well, why don't you have a house or why don't you get a family? It's like, bitch, I can't afford that right now. And
Well,
of
actually,
course,
yeah.
well, honestly, well, I'm speaking to the people that like, exist today. And Gen X has definitely gotten fucked. So when these retards that come out and say that, oh, we're gonna fix this, vote for me, bro, it does not work that way. And also, I'll agree with you, Juan. The first time I've ever voted, and I'm almost 40, by the way. First time I voted is to protect the homeland. And I don't vote. Everybody can have an opinion about that. That's fine. I was raised Christian. I want to remove myself from this system. But I felt it was my duty to do that. So either have somebody who has a plan or let somebody in who is a puppet. And I don't want a puppet. If I'm going to have kids and I'm going to move on from like the next 10 to 20 years and to exist in the system, I don't want to make it harder for myself. I'm not saying that everyone's perfect. I'm not saying that, I picked the golden god when I made the vote. I'm saying like, hey, let's make this situation less shitty because we have people who want to dominate us in multiple cities, taking them over. And in the next 10 years, America is going to be a very different space unless they learn from history and they look at Europe and figure out, hey, where are our values and where are our laws coming from? And if they don't stay Christian, we don't have anywhere else to go at all. So I'm not saying that everyone of one religion is bad or whatever. I'm just saying that if that takes over, because we've seen it in Iran in 1977, that our money won't mean anything. And I'm okay with American money not meaning anything. But when the laws come and they push, will we be able to use Kaspa? Will we be able to do trade? Will we be able to grow food and share food and have a community? We don't know. So I know this has kind of gone off rails, or well, it's gone off
A
in a
little
different
bit.
direction. But but honestly, man, I'm really worried about it because sovereignty is extremely important to me. But if everybody
Same
in
here.
your town is telling you you can't do something, whether it's the police or a group of people, then we can't hold the sovereignty. And that is like my biggest worry. My biggest worry. Outside of the
You
government already fucking it up. But look at the UK with the digital IDs and what's being allowed on Apple. It's fucking terrifying, dude. What they're pushing is absolute control. And Caspa gives us an answer.
It does. It gives us that piece of
So
sovereignty.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you touched on a lot there, so much to unpack, and I have a terrible memory, so I'll give my my agree to agree on some of this, because you do bring up a lot of good points. For me, I grew up Roman Catholic, a branch of Christianity that has taken advantage of its community for the last 200 years, right? If not longer. Um, and I always say that I stepped away from religion about it was right after my grandfather passed away, and not for anything in particular, but mostly when the biggest stuff of the inappropriateness, we'll say, because just to say the words is really hurtful, but a lot of their inappropriate actions truly just was like, well, if people who are operating under the guides of God and salvation for actions are not reprimanded for these things, how could I believe? And you can say it's a few bad apples. There was a lot of fucking bad apples. But what I've always known, period, and also when I was in ninth grade, I went to a monastery, um, and I saw how beautiful that religion was, and I was like, wow, that how can these people go to hell, right? Because that's what most of Catholicism does, right? And I know Christianity is bigger than Catholicism, so but just stay with me. The idea that there's good and bad is true, but we all live in the middle. And if Hinduism and Islam and Muslim and Judaism and Christianity and all of these different religions exist, while I agree with your perspective, Buffalo, that in operating in a Christian value, those values also exist in these other religions as well. And a lot of staunch Christianity doesn't allow for the conversation, and I'm not saying this is you, but doesn't allow for the conversation of those other religions to operate in that way as well. So when it comes to the community aspect that you're speaking of, if my Muslim neighbor grows the best potatoes, by all means, I'll trade them for
Mhm.
chickens. You know what I mean? So like that's something that I do wish we can do. I also have that same fear you do, is that if I choose to trade potatoes for chicken, I have to pay a tax to the government on that potato because I acquired it with the chicken, and that's not right, And we're growing in this crypto space for the barter of energy that should be the ability for all that to happen. We should be able to have, as I say, a cyclical economy that comes through cryptocurrency. We're live on V4. We accepted 25 cash today. Our energy has earned that. I want my energy to continue to earn that because I want to take that 25 cash and I want to buy my groceries with it, and then I want to earn 25 more cash and I want to buy more groceries with that. And I want it to be cyclical. And I want to give my neighbor across the street has chickens and eggs. I would love to give him cash for chickens and eggs. And I would love for him to not have to worry about paying taxes on that because he wants because the government wants to control everything we do. And the guy across the street definitely believes in stuff I don't believe in. But I know in community because we were outside talking for about an hour and a half, and that's how I found that stuff
Mm.
out. He needed a tree cut down. I needed a tree cut down. We helped each other cut each other's trees down. That literally happened. And I had nothing to offer him, and he gave me a dozen eggs for free. And being able to have these conversations and be in community, I think is where if we grow up with our beliefs and we have our ability to express ourselves, we also need the ability to listen and show compassion for those who don't necessarily see it that same way, because your views can show up looking differently. There can be a black Jewish family that lives right across the street from you that has a husband, a wife, and two kids, and they express their worship the way they express their worship. It looks identical to what yours may look like. And this is the metaphorical you, not just Buffalo, but the metaphor. They look just like you do when you operate the way you do. It just sounds different. And as long as your community is that strong, and we talked about it earlier, going to sports games, there's every single person wears the same jersey, and that's where that sense of community, where we definitely agree, Buffalo, that sense of community is way, way, way more important than the things we can label to divide us. And it's gonna start from us. And this isn't this isn't militiaistic that I'm going on, but this is about the community itself, what we're doing in Caspa, what can be done in your local community, whatever fucking cryptocurrency you want it to look like, is about trading true value for a deflationary set of means to grow to the next level. And while I got friends in the UK that I chat with, and they don't seem as concerned. But I think there's also a bit of acceptance when it comes to these things. Only so many things they can control, and it's I'm not a gun guy. I appreciate our Second Amendment and why it was created, and I think that the UK would be an example why, if we were to limit that, well, what happened next? They had no way to hold firm when it came to digital IDs, right? So like I see where all that can go, but I would rather build the base of strength before fighting every little thing in front of us. No, we can't let the little things go by, but I think that's something that's really helped me gravitate towards in Caspa, was this is where a good base of what tomorrow could look like is. Let's continue to build this base.
All right. Yeah. No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I do. I think that the conversation is, I guess it's a little bit different, um, between having sovereignty and having your gates up. But if everyone is at your gates saying that you need to do what they want, whether that be whatever religion or the government, whatever, like, then that's going to pose a problem. And that's kind of what
Sure.
I'm talking about, is that whether, I mean, Juan and Bishop, both of you are Americans and have come from Christian values. So this is why you have these views. Now, what happens when those values go away in your society? I don't think that we've hit the pain point, not even close, but it's gonna be a problem with sovereignty and taking care of your own, and taking care of the energy that you've stored, because people will come and try to take this. And I know that we have kind of this lax attitude on, on people coming in, and we want to be accepting. It's a Christian based society. Of course we want to be accepting. But when we have that and they use it against us, that's what I'm worried about, because it will come. What's going on with digital IDs in the UK, right? So, hey, give up your rights so we can fix it, even though we created the problem. This is going to come to America, and I don't think that you're going to be as lax when you see it happen. We have
Sure.
we have okay, I want you to think about this. Just in Sweden, in the last 20 years, the amount of people being taken advantage of, and I will just say women, has gone up 3 times. That is wild. Where we have Poland, who keeps their borders safe and they take care of their people, it has actually gone down from 4,000 to 1,000 in the whole country of abuse towards women. Where every other European area has gone up. And I don't want to make it about that because I'm not trying to. I'm just saying that we need to be aware of it because when it steps into America, we're going to have a problem. And if we are all about sovereignty and taking care of each other, then let's be aware of it because I promise you, in the next 20 years, if this is allowed, America is not going to be America anymore. It will not be on this Christian standard that we don't really pay attention to. It'll be on a standard that we don't agree with, which will be absolute tyranny.
Well, okay. Let's see. I actually see a lot of what happens in those in politics who preach a Christian standard as tyrannical. It almost seems as if a forced belief based system that lends to hypocriticalness. For instance, adultery and uh, children out of wedlock and things like that, where if the answer to that hypocriticalness is, well, we believe in forgiveness and, you know, absolution, that doesn't uh, uh, excuse a lack of morality. It actually, to me, is more of an excuse. But I I agree with your standard point though. So one of the things that bothers me about politics, right? So you're saying like shoring up the borders helps secure the country, right? Part of not allowing people in is taking care of the people that are there. And in the true value of uh so let me put this delicately. On the Republican side of things, there's a close the borders thing, right? But also in their economics, they are about um, survival of the fittest. Well, if you're going to close your borders, then you need to help the people that are here as well. So you need to enter into a more socialism aspect of things. I remember learning in elementary school or probably middle school because you don't really anyway what socialism truly was, right? And it's building from within and taking care of your own. Um, there isn't an emphasis right now in America of building from within. It is still have and have nots. So in a capitalism society where you drive for the most amount of money, the only way to apply socialism is to take a lot from the top and give it back to the bottom, right? But if you have, like, let's say, American owned entities, like the US government owns steel factories, right? Those steel factories can then create that to inject into the American ecosystem instead of getting steel from a Chinese company, which is owned by the government, right? But what we do is we subsidize companies to provide jobs and all that shit, but it's taxpayers' money going to big business for big business to take more money. And none of that taxpayer dollars truly comes back to the people because it stays with the people at the top of those companies. So socialism is about helping the true value of socialism, not politically on TV socialism. The true value of socialism is to take care of the people from within, right? It's not about um, taking care of people who don't do. Everyone has to do, and because they're talking about it now, right? A universal basic income. Well, that's socialism, right? What China's doing now is what's called strict socialism, i.e., communism, right? But look at how the value of their country is growing, and it's all from within. The government owns everything, and the money goes to where it goes to, but nobody goes without, and that's broad term, I know. But nobody's going without. And I'm not saying that we need to go that route, but in the eyes of what socialism is supposed to be, if you are going to stop people from coming in, then we cannot make it Darwinism where it's survival of the fittest, right? We have to make sure that we take care of our own. And I think both things can happen without it looking like the way it sounds on TV. So to not allow um, outside wealth and knowledge to exist. Because yes, most of the time we're only talking about the bad things, but if you lock down one, you have to lock down all. We do have to put an emphasis on building from within, and I don't think that. I think that's the true problem that we have. Period. Is there is no emphasis on building from within.
Okay, well, hold on, Bishop. Sorry, give me 1 second, Juan. Um,
Yes, sir.
I
Go for it.
agree with taking care of your community 100%. I agree with that. I don't need the government to tell me where my money needs to go because
Agreed.
historically they are so bad with it. It is insane. When you put all your money, not all your money, but if you put your money into Social Security, which is a great idea, I'm not disagreeing with you. Social Security was fantastic. But what they do is they borrow against it and take your money. So if I would have put
Yes.
it in a low value, like from my beginning of paying taxes, if I just took that money and I, just put it in a 5% fund, by the time I'm 70, I'm going to be a multi millionaire. What the government does is because they borrow against it and they use that money, they're not good with money. I feel like I feel like everyone understands that the government's not good with money.
Yeah, we
Correct.
do.
And look,
So
it's like Medicare, right? Medicare is the same thing. You pay for Medicare out of your paychecks, right? But if we had, and I'm not saying we should, if we had universal health care, right? Then every dollar that we put in the Medicare goes towards universal health care, right? But right now, what does every dollar that goes into Medicare? It goes into another insurance style system that also doesn't work. So it's a waste of money on a government program. So if Social Security, for instance, went into a universal basic income where those funds are distributed, not borrowed against, then yes, it makes sense. So you're absolutely right. They have no clue what to do with the money. As Juan said earlier, it's all leverage based systems.
it
It's
is.
borrow against the future to get by today.
Yeah.
And our parents got lucky as shit. My dad retired from General Motors with a pension and then a second job where he put 25% of his salary into a 401k.
Yeah.
And I can't find a job right now. So it's like, yeah, the idea that you know, the and that was honestly the best brand of what socialism looked like when companies gave pensions, right? Like they gave back to the people that helped build it. They have a network of cyclical economy that you don't have to worry about the government taking that money. So yeah, if we paid Social Security and it went into a universal basic income, or we paid into Medicare and went into universal health care, so those funds are constantly distributed instead of borrowed against, yes, then it makes sense for the government to have that kind of help.
Well, but they can't
But yeah, I
handle it.
agree. It's bad with money.
They
Correct.
can't fucking handle it.
Correct.
It's so ridiculous to me because like you and I, right? We're plebs, Bishop. You and I,
Mhm.
we can be know nothing idiots and still do better than the government when it comes to investing. That's wild. That's
Absolutely.
wild, man.
Absolutely.
It's fucking wild. And I'm like, how the fuck can you not figure this out? Like I can put shit in the stock market and make, average 16 to 20% on my money, which I do. So I'm like, why can't you do this? And the whole deal, the whole basic thing, and I'm going to break this down really, really simple why socialism and communism doesn't work. Because humans are greedy and fallible.
Mm,
That's it.
mhm.
That's it. So when we have this conversation about wanting, and this is the whole deal, right? This is why I'm in the Caspa Standard today. This is why I'm like, hey, maybe my energy shouldn't be taken from, hence them printing and reducing the value of my money is I want my money and I want my energy to grow because my energy is everything because I will not have it forever. None of us will. But if we can let it grow and make profit for the people of the future, right? Or our kids or whatever. We're planting the seed of the tree with which shade we will never be able to sit under.
Yeah, and I'll give my 2 cents here, really short and to the point.
No, Juan, go off. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
No, I think you guys covered so much of the reason why we're in Caspa, and for me, it's there is an option outside of what you guys have gone through, the examples that you've gone through. So the system that we have in place right now is a control system. You're going to have differing opinions on what could or should happen, or what might not happen, and it creates a lot of fear, anxiety. Oh shit, this, so all of that comes into play when you're giving your energy, when you're putting it out there and almost needing confirmation that this is what's going to be done with it. So the option with saving in a sounder system that isn't, there is no one centralized control, there is nobody making the decisions for you. You literally can store it in this protocol that is consensus based, and it is from the people, right? We are all nodes in this network, we all have a say, and you're not giving that away. Everything comes from within. That's the way I see it, and I relate to what it so tying that back to what I shared earlier about how, look at, people talk about getting orange pilled or green pilled, right? Oh, when did they, for me, doing Landmark when I was 20 was like, oh shit, there's another perspective of how to go about life. Oh damn, let me try this on and see how it works for me. And my foster mom would always have this saying that I thought I've used several times in my life. But whenever I would try things out and it didn't feel right or it would have me be afraid, she'd be like, okay, how's that working out for you? Are you open to a different perspective? And that has been a constant thing in my life. So like Buffalo, you speak on some things that are definitely real for people in terms of being afraid, because we've given trust to this government, and it's not just recently, bro. We have 300 years of evidence of it not working. It only works for, I own assets, I have commercial real estate, I have, the reason I haven't had to work, I haven't earned any money, profit in 2 years, but my net worth has gone up because I own hard assets. And what I know, doing all this research and understanding the way the world works right now, the system that's in play that most people believe in. I don't. I'm already out of that. But what most people are believing in is that that is going to be changed from within. So voting for when I didn't pay attention to the fucking politics, my life was great. I did not spend more than I made. Period. That was it. And I didn't pay attention to the news. I had no fucking idea what was going on. Once I started paying attention, all those fears and anxieties came up. Bro, I haven't paid attention for the past year. I've obviously noticed some of the shitty things that have happened, but my energy no longer goes towards that. That's why I've moved my time over here. And I definitely recognize that I'm lucky. But again, this isn't something, that has just happened in the past year or two for me. This is 25 years of making conscious decisions to go within, find what can I do? How can I protect myself? And then once I, my fitness journey is an example of it. There was a time that I did not take care of myself. Once I put myself first, started working out, lifting, yoga came along. Now it's like, okay, now I have the energy to give to my family and protect my family. And that's exactly what's happened. It started with me and it spread to my family. And now it's okay. Now I can give to the community. Now I can participate in what this Caspa thing's about in this ecosystem. So I think the fear and anxiety are signals that, hey, maybe you're giving a little too much to what's out there and you can't control. And there are a lot of shitty fucking things happening that you literally have no control over. The only thing you can do is try to flip that for yourself. And where can I put my time and energy and my thoughts? You can't really control your thoughts, but I learned this. I mean, I was one of those people that was like, I don't meditate. I'm never gonna fucking meditate. And then, I found yoga a year and a half practicing this, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what this means. Sitting still doesn't mean I have to cross my feet here and put my hands out like that. It's just observing my thoughts as thoughts, but I'm not my thoughts. I'm the space in between my thoughts. And I don't have to, just like when clouds are, I'm looking over the Miami skyline right now, just as clouds pass by, those are my thoughts. And I don't have to jump on that thought. That's just a thought. Thank you for, that's not going to work for me. Let me go over here and try this one on. And that's really all we can do. And I have receipts on how that works in your life if you apply apply what works for you. And what works for me isn't going to work. This isn't like one way of doing things, right?
Yeah.
What works for me isn't going to necessarily work for you. You have to try these things out yourself and find that sovereignty from within. Because for me, it's like, despite whether Bitcoin or Caspa were around, or we're on the Caspa standard, I would still have this sovereignty in some way, shape, or form. Trust me. I would find it. It's just these are tools that people need to know about, that exist, that are here right
Good.
now. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, this is why guns exist. So, honestly, the sovereignty, bro, you just said that so well. Well said. Honestly, Juan. Well said, man. But you're
Right,
right.
and it,
It's
it
like
looks it looks differently for everyone else
Everybody,
too, right?
yeah,
Like as because I just listened to what Juan said, and it's literally identical to what Buffalo was saying. And you guys just
right.
came from two rooted different examples, which is that's the beauty of life. You know, we have this again this the United States of America with 340 million people with endless amounts of religions and cultures where if the ladder that you're building or the ecosystem that you're building for yourself from within starts here, right? Buffalo, you have a different base that you're riding off of. One, you have a different base that you're riding off. And as you build that base and you get to this thing where you go, you know what? Okay, now I'm here. What does that look like? And as that community builds, we are here together doing this together, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. And and where you find the large scale similarities, for instance, the Casper ecosystem, which I think, as we've talked about, Juan, and we agree, which is why I know we do this. The second something comes out better, more efficient, whatever it needs to look like for us to go, you know what, this might be that. Because it's always about asking the question to make that base bigger. I don't I don't live fully on the Caspa standard yet. And I know the word Caspa is truly just cryptocurrency because again, like we talked about before, if the first IBM computer was the last one, we'd be in trouble, right? If
Yeah.
if
well
Bitcoin
said.
was the best, we'd be in trouble. If Kaspa turns out to be the best 50 years from now, we are in trouble. Technology always needs to grow and get better, and as that grows and gets better, we need to grow and get better. And
We need
that's
to
why I
pivot.
think
Yes.
yes, yes. And as we take those steps to that, we need to understand that like we can attach it to what's old, but we got to move forward. And I think the hardest part for everyone globally is the systems they grew up in. Whether it is a religion you disagree with, whether it is a government you agree with or disagree with, like having those moves, households that you agree or disagree with, right? These learned behaviors that we have to grow from that or grab from it. I may mention this on the show or not, but I went to culinary school and my chef said the mark of a great chef is taking all the good shit with you and leaving all the bad shit behind. You are going to work in a million different restaurants. Take all the good shit, leave the bad shit. And at the end, you are the best chef you can be. And I've just kind of applied that to everywhere I went. I've never once, this question was asked me, who's the best boss you ever worked for? And I was like, uh, I don't know. The best leader I ever worked for, or best leader I was ever around, was my high school basketball coach. He's a great friend to this day, and I was 15 when I met him. My pastry school chef was a fantastic leader, but I've never gone to a job, felt safe, secure, and led by a manager or an owner that I worked for.
Bishop, I will tell you why. And the answer is because you are the best leader and you have to take that position.
I appreciate that, brother, and I found that out at 40 years old.
Love
This
that. That's
last
so
year,
true.
yeah, this
My
last year has
man.
been so. This last year has been really taxing trying to figure out my space because I took it over a Taco Bell in my area. We went to it 2 times in 5 years because it sucked. I went there, I increased their sales by was it 22% year over year, increased the transactions by 9% year over year, and the company average was 7.3. I never got a bonus or a raise for doing that. And I did this within 5 months. I never got a raise or a bonus for doing that because I didn't meet these other metrics. And because I didn't meet those metrics, my boss said that I wasn't doing a good job. So I left there with confidence that I wasn't the problem. I gave something to the community that never existed. I'm actually still and people who still I left there a year ago in December. The day before Thanksgiving was record sales at that store at a Taco Bell, not Cinco de Mayo, day before Thanksgiving. Because when I got it, it was middle of May, and I left there in December. By the time I was done, we'd hit record sales on the day before Thanksgiving, and my last day, we topped it. And I was like, yeah, I did the right thing. So I'm actually going to reach out to one of the guys there to see if he's working tomorrow, because I want to know if they hit above record sales from the year before, because that would show my true value to that operation. Just because I like bragging to myself now. But you're right, Buffalo. I appreciate that. I always I say I could teach anybody anything, and I understood that as a leader. That this particular Taco Bell, there's people from Ecuador who I had to teach myself kitchen Spanish to be able to communicate with them. They're some of the best people I met. On my last
Mm-hmm.
day there, these Spanish speaking employees who I had to use Google Voice to have long form conversations with cried when I was leaving. Like, that's
Bishop,
the
just
type of relationship you can build when you just
yeah.
understand people and become a leader.
Okay, well, Bishop, I would highly if you want an invite, I think that you should do a PSI seminar. I think it'd be really helpful. But also, I just want to like remind you something that's really, really rad is that you were living on the Caspa standard before the Caspa even got here. So good job, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Oh man, this man.
Woo,
All right.
that's a lot.
Fucking hard work, brother. It's hard work.
That's a lot.
It's hard
It's
work.
fun. It's good though. It's why I appreciate you reaching out to me the other day when you did, and it's because I know I mean, when I speak about being on opposite sides of things, I definitely am thinking of you when when I say that. And it's always been from truth. I know you believe everything you believe, and I know what you believe is true. I don't believe it as much as you do. I don't hold it as strong as you do, but I'm not going to deny your ability to believe that, speak on it, and help try to improve it. Why would I do that? Like, it's not for me to say. And I know when I say disagree, if I mention your name, people may take it as a slight, and it's not at all. I and I like I said, I agree to agree. I absolutely agree with you. You're right to believe that, and you should. I don't believe it as much, but I'm kind of concerned, and I'll take it somewhere else, and I'll try to work in that other thing. And when you get to where you need to be, and I get to where I need to be, what we're going to do is exactly what we're doing today. We're going to meet each other where we're at, and then we're going to continue to have these conversations, and that's what's so fucking important. I so the impetus of me doing this stuff, and why I'm Bishop, I host the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast. And the reason why it's named Terrible Wrestling Takes is if you're ever on wrestling Twitter, everybody fucking disagrees all the time. And they tell people, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Well, I said I was wrong first. What I have to say is terrible. So you can't one up me, because you're gonna say it that way anyway. But in every episode where I go off on something I don't like, I truly say it's about the conversation. I don't like it. You like it? Okay, great. You like it. I don't. And this is my platform to say what I need to say. So I will speak in truth of how
Damn
I
right.
feel as I see it. And that's where conversation starts. But it's when the arguing happens and the refusal to listen and have conversation. Like, I don't have time for that shit. But I love having conversations. I've done, well, no, you guys done it too. Shit, last week on Blockchain Manager, beneath the surface, or the week before, 4.5 hours. Why? Because it's about the conversation. And it wasn't
Yeah.
cyclical either. It wasn't going back and forth on the same dumb shit. No, it was all open forum, just discussion. It was beautiful. I'm all about the
Yeah.
conversation.
It wasn't a BTC Maxi. Everybody agrees. Let's just like everything's fine. We're so doing such a great job. All that bullshit. No, we're fighting. And I gotta say that, I gotta give props to Onion. I gotta give props to Juan. I gotta give props to Vijay, even though I didn't say his name right.
VJ. VJ.
They I knew I didn't say it right. But no, I got to give props to the community that we fight. Like we're a bunch of fucking fighters because what's being pushed on us is not okay. And when I'm speaking of like what's being pushed on us, our energy is not being valued, and it's not producing more. And Caspa gives that to us. I mean, fuck, 1 week we went up 21%. Of course, we dropped, fine. But 21% on your money, fuck, that's awesome. I mean, speak to that, please.
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to, and I love how you said that we're all essentially fighters. And what I love about that right there is that we're all fighting in our own ways, right? If you take a look at the personalities and how we do this. I think my form is, for example, on that blockchain banter from last week, I bit at somebody, right? And I don't think I've publicly done that or had to do anything like that, but it's there. It's
I
there,
appreciated it.
right? And I think it's important to stand on who you are and your beliefs, and then at the same time be open to seeing the other side. And that's what I get from all of us, right? And if anything, I look at myself. I just looked up this quote, but when you're like, we're fighters, I look at myself as more of a Bruce Lee type, right? And he has that quote where he says, empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. You put water into the bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it into the teapot, it becomes a teapot. Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. So that's my form of how I come at this, right? But at the same time, I can see where people are and respect people for where they are in their process and how they're going through their process. Because I've been, I take a look at, I've said this to Onion, and just like I've shared with Bishop, I don't say anything behind your back that I'm not willing to say to your face. Like, that's how I do it, right? And that's how we should all do it. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works mostly out there, right? But Onion, it comes at people in a certain way, and he's young. He has that energy, and I think that's necessary. That's necessary right now for what we're trying to bring to the world, with the awareness that we all have in common. That's, hey, this is
Agreed.
something. This is something different. This is what it's done for me. Like Bishop, speaking of what Bishop's talking about, let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk. And he's brought it up, right? Where that conversation hasn't really happened. I think that Bitcoin, and I went back and listened to a portion of it, but that Bitcoin Kaspa debate, which it really wasn't a debate, because to me the Kaspa people on that panel just understood Bitcoin better than the people that were on the panel. But that brought this new energy to this ecosystem, right? And it's, if you study this stuff, you'd realize that, hey, there's a lot that Bitcoin brought to the table. But okay, we know what the protocol is. It ossified. It's a store of value. We'll see how far that goes. All this other shit that's out here wouldn't exist if the free market wasn't calling for it. And that's how I see all of this. So yeah, man, it's exciting because when you see a jump of 20%, right? Like we're experiencing, and I think I mentioned it to start off the show, but it's the top performing. So right now there's so much going on in the macro sense of the world. There's so much happening with liquid. The guy that I kicked off the panel, right? He was like, liquidity. Do you know what liquidity is? There's no liquidity, right? Okay. And and look at what's happening, right? So for me, of course, this is a long-term play. I'm not in it just for turning a profit or making gains. I'm really in this for the conversation, the education, and to free people from wherever they are. Because like I've shared and I've talked about here, everything comes from within, man. And we, if anything, speaking of what you're talking about, Buffalo, about some of the things that you're fearful of, I respect that, and I can see that. I can see where you're coming from. That's why I think now is the time more than ever for us to get right, to get our base right, to get who we are as people correct, right, to be right with our family, with our loved ones, and it's a perfect time of the year to go do that and share what this has done for you with your family. With this being Thanksgiving, I shared it with Bishop earlier. It really is about being thankful every possible day, every day that you possibly can. But I understand that it's hard out there for a lot of people. It really is. It really is. And this is such a beautiful thing. I feel like I'm so in flow with where I am in my life, and I can relate to people no matter where you're coming from. And it has nothing to do with how much that amount is in your bank account. Because I've shared this on previous bases. I've had a million in the bank, and I've had a shit ton amount in Kaspa and in Bitcoin. And I shared I got liquidated. Fucking, it's not going to change who I am on a daily basis, right? And
Of
I think
course
that's
not.
ultimately where we're all trying to get to. It's like, how can we be with each other, enjoy each other, and fucking, level up our lives and bring out the best in each other? That's what this shit's about.
Juan, you are 110% correct. Like, it's tough. like me listening to you speak because I want to you know, I want to not that I want to disagree, but I would like to have some banter, right? But then you say shit and I'm like, yeah, okay.
It goes to what Bishop says that what he hosts the Terrible Takes podcast, right? He says all this shit that people. So when you're talking like that, I think of this is what I fucking do. It's in sales. It's called handling objections before they come up. So you admit you say all the things that people can say against you. So it's like that Eminem moment, right? In 8 Mile,
The
where he
Eight
gets
Mile,
on there and
yeah,
fucking freestyles.
yeah.
He's like, I am white trash. I am. That's what I do, bro. I have 20 years of practice in this. It's like I can see all angles. I'll acknowledge it all, and then let me come tell you my truth.
You're pulling bullets from the gun and you're handing people banana bread. That's what you're
Absolutely,
doing.
brother. Absolutely. And that's a practice of 20 plus years. I definitely think landmark for that, the communications
Oh,
course.
absolutely.
Promo to that if you've ever thought about it's a 3-day course over the weekend. I mean, those 3 days completely shifted my life. A big part of the reason why I've been able to see things the way I've seen it. I've evolved though, obviously.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's been other
Because
things.
you don't play into your stories. You reach reality in the moment and be in the present.
Right. Amen to that. Right there, bro. That's it.
Bro.
That's all we got. That's all we got. It's right here, right now. Right here, right now. That's all we have. So it's like, what do I need to do in this moment, or how do I need to be? And then eventually, you get to a place where you're not thinking about it. You're just like, we're what are we doing right now? Being the three people speaking on this platform and just getting this energy out. We're the players on the field, right? We're the players out here sharing what we know. And I personally don't ever come from a place of, oh, I know everything, I'm an expert in this. I share my life experience. I speak from what has happened for me, and I know that people that resonate on this frequency see that, and that's what they see with you two as well. So we're
100%.
players on the field playing life right now, and that's all you can fucking do in this life. That's all you can do. Where most people unfortunately are in the stands yelling, talking shit, hiding behind fake ass profiles, being keyless or faceless keyboard warriors, right? So that's, I mean, have fun doing that. It's a hell of a lot more fun being down here on the playing field, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're bringing to light, and it's exciting. It's exciting to do this.
Oh no, I 100% agree. Would anybody else like to be a speaker? I'm just curious. I mean, I know we're entertaining.
Well, we do have a show here that we have somewhat of a format for. So I mean, but yes, if anyone has any comments
Yeah,
of
if
what we've
anybody
been
does,
talking about,
feel
we'd
free. We'll let
absolutely
you.
love to entertain it.
Yeah.
One thing that happened pretty cool is on Sunday, Kaspa surpassed 900 nodes. Um,
Oh,
and
sweet.
as Gronk says right now, we're at approximately 950. So we're definitely going to hit 1,000 by the new year. Um, Most likely a
Well,
thousand, maybe in a week or so. That's pretty
Caspa
fucking
has
cool.
this big thing with big dick swinging. We do that.
It's I tell you, it's really damn cool, man, because the truth in what Caspa's doing is truly no one is concerned with the number. The investment in the platform, again, it is paramount for this particular show live on the Casper Standard to be on Vivor every single week, because the 25 cast that we got tipped today to do the show, the 1.2 it costs to launch the show, all supports the base layer of the network. As this
It's all profit.
Vivor, yes, and as Vivor expands, it will integrate itself more and more with Caspa. The chat is built by Cassia messaging, right? It is going to continue to integrate with the Caspa base layer. It may take vprogs to have digital storage. It may not. But what they're doing is they are continually to use their energy to invest in this ecosystem, regardless of the token price. Because as they said on Blockchain Banter on Monday, the investment in the network is the security of the network, not
Mm.
necessarily network security, as they say with hash rate and all that bullshit, but it's about the security of what you're using. If you don't drive cars, they don't make cars, right? So we are driving this Caspa engine. We are using this Caspa
Yep.
system, and in using that shows the value of what is created. Caspa Onion did a fantastic 10-minute space last weekend after that 4-hour blockchain banner last Wednesday. He put one out there. So I suggest you guys go back to Caspa Onion's feed and look up that particular space. And he was comparing Caspa to being um, the centralized value of what you're building next on Caspa. So, for instance, if you're trying to make a competitor to Twitter, you have to have raw funding and a business plan and all that shit to say, hey, I'm trying to build the next Twitter. But if you build on Caspa, you can show that, hey, the thing I'm building on has a $1 billion valuation already. And you don't
Oh,
need
already.
permission. Yeah, exactly. You don't need permission from Steve Jobs to build at Apple, right? You don't, there is no Steve Jobs to Caspa. There is no person that stops you from being built on Caspa. So the fact that you're building onto $1 billion system, you have that availability, and that's what shows as we continue to build, that number goes up. And it's not about number go up, but it's about strengthening what Caspa is. So the more nodes and the more we build on it, the more it goes up, which is
Oh,
fantastic.
absolutely. Oh, dude, the decentralization of the internet is coming, and Caspa will be the standard.
For
A
sure,
hundred and ten
for
percent,
sure.
man.
I'm
Like
actually what
we're
I'm
so early. You
waiting.
guys are so
The,
early. I'm so early.
yeah,
We're all so
the
early
real
because
shoe I'm waiting for
we
drop.
know that. Wait, what
The
was
real
that?
shoe I'm waiting to drop is when the real shoe I'm waiting for drop is when the first person who uses Cloudflare or first company that uses Cloudflare or AWS switches to Caspa. That's
Oh,
that's
do you know how real that's gonna be? Oh
that's
my
yeah, that's
god.
that's and it's going to happen. It's going to
Yeah,
happen at some point. And it could be Discord, right? It could be a smaller version of what these other things are, right? It may not be Twitter, it might be Blue Sky, right? Whatever it is
yeah.
that ends up on Caspa is going to prove, oh my God, the second this one's down, that one's up. That one never went down. Why did that not go down? And then the
Why
floodgates
does
will
this
just open.
continue not to go
And that
down?
right, right, right.
It's fucking
Because there's a
wild,
node
man.
on a satellite in space.
We were young kids when the internet came out, right? Like, or I guess like when it got adopted, right? We were young kids. And now we get to have sovereignty, which is so fucking huge. Like, I remember talking to Kara on the last blockchain banter, and I was like, "Honey, what you just said needs to be clipped, and you need to make a video out of it. Like, you need to clip this and do it." And she did it, and I was like, "Thank God, I need to share this," because, in all honesty, the power that Caspa has is so fucking wild to me. And then, like, it makes me uncomfortable about homeboy, wallet number one, like buying as much as he's buying. It does make me a little uncomfortable. But the point is that it's our duty as Caspians to continue to buy more, to hold market share, uh, to continue our freedom. I mean, I know homeboy is, he's like 1 billion now or something like that, and we've got 28, but we've got so many people that continue to mine, that continue to buy, that continue to hold market share. Like, I feel, for me, like, I'm down for doing a sell, to make profit, and to absolutely be okay with, making profit for my investment. I'll do that, no doubt. But I'm going to take that money and I'm going to put it back into Caspa,
Right.
because it's always number go up and then number go down for a little bit of time. But Caspa thrives in the bear market. And if you don't think that the people, the BTC maxis, and all the work we've done, if you don't think they're like, okay, what's a safe place to put my money into? Are they going to put it in Solana? Fuck no,
No way.
because that's not their ideology. It's not. It doesn't make sense. Why would you put your money into a POS? Yeah, maybe a little bit, fine, if you want to make, like, okay, well, I know they're going to pump the bags and whatever. But if you want
Defend the
hard
defense.
money, if you want hard money, you're going to put it in a proof of work. And what's the
Yeah.
best? What's the next best thing than Caspa? Literally nothing.
Well, I'm curious, and because I posted last night, because somebody was like, "What altcoins performing the best?" And I'm just altcoin just drives me fucking nuts because there's cryptocurrencies and there's meme coins, in my opinion, and I think
I
there's
love
two
that
types
post,
of
by the way.
cryptocurrencies.
So
Yeah,
true.
thank you, I appreciate that because it's fucking annoying. You're actually anytime you say altcoin, you're moving away from what Buffalo was just saying. Like you're actually saying that it's not currency. Well, that's because Bitcoin's not currency. Bitcoin has chose as a community to be so focused on the investment value to be store of value that they forgot to be a cryptocurrency. Oh, well, we can just be sats and be a cryptocurrency. No, you're actually now making quarters because you can't spend dollars. And then what happened to the dollar now, right? And and when it comes to crypto in its own, again, I look at cryptocurrency this way, and Juan, I thank you for this one. If it's not proof of work, it's not cryptocurrency. So Ethereum, Solana, bye. You guys went proof of stake, see you. It doesn't. They don't even matter anymore
Crypto
because
companies. They're crypto companies.
crypto companies, yeah, they're now crypto companies. But as long as you're proof of work and you can provide the chain with the work, then you have that's essentially your printer, right? Like that's what is circulating the money as you spend it and you transfer it and you acquire it. It's all happening on that network. But if it's just proof of stake, then what's the advantage? So having the security of having the network, a cryptocurrency is proof of work. There just so happens to be a proof of work that is store value now. And I think Kaspa right now is the only one that has the ability to have true money because there's a market cap. If Doge ever wanted to put a market cap on there, it's so fucking popular, they might be able to actually do some damage, but they chose not to. Plus, you also can't use their chain. So that's why I think what's so cool over specifically the last week, right? Kaspa hits three something, it goes up to five, and it doesn't have true market volatility right now. What you're seeing is, in my layman's understanding, somewhat of a basement, not financial advice, right? We got to say that. Somewhat of a basement, but then a strengthening of that basement because there's no one who's there who wants to then leave, right? We're all here and we want to be here and we continue to buy. And as it goes up, it goes up. And we try to solidify that basement still. So as our foundation is getting solidified, we'll have the ability for Vivor to expand, Cassia messaging to expand, everyone else who's building things on there to expand, and that's again where the real value is coming from, and we'll be able to deal with the money. Like it's I can't wait. I cannot wait. Like it's really
Bishop,
fucking exciting because it's
it's
going to
so
happen.
exciting. Bishop fucking nailed it, man. No, okay. So I got 2 points. I'm sorry, one. I'm sorry, one. I don't mean to cut you off. I know you want to be part of this.
It's
I
It's
just
his
Bishop,
I'm
show.
just
Juan, and Buffalo. Good
yeah.
morning. Let's go. Let's
But
go. Go ahead,
bro,
buddy. Go
bro,
ahead.
you're like, oh shit, I don't have
No,
to
that's
talk. It's fine.
casual Caspa.
This
That's
is the
casual
first time
Caspa.
this
This
is
is
the first
live on
time
the
we've had
Caspa
somebody
standard.
join and participate, bro. No, this is we're good. I do have a hard stop in 22 minutes for me, but go ahead, Buffalo. You're good,
That's
brother.
fair. I'll
You're
only
good.
take 21 minutes.
All right,
All
sweet.
right. No, but this is the wild part, right? Is that we are so early. Of course we know that, right? We understand what's being built on here. The BTC maxis, we can talk and chat and blah blah and be like, hey, come over here, blah blah. Your coin is dying because I'm going to tell you right now, BTC will be worth without the prop, right? Without the prop of centralized money, they're going to fucking die because they can't keep up. And I'm not saying that BTC is shit. I'm not saying any of that. Like I sold out of BTC when I found out about Caspa. So I was buying BTC at 16 and 15, 16, about 16,000 to 20,000. I was buying BTC. And then I found Caspa. And I'm like, oh, well, that's, yeah, I guess I'm not going to do that anymore. Well, first of all, it's not the currency. It's not a currency. They had to layer to that shit with Lightning, which is fucking wild, by the way, that they can't come to a consensus that BTC can be money. They won't allow it. So they had to shift the narrative to make BTC a store of value because they knew they were dying. That's what's wild, man. And then Cass is like, all right, well, you can be both and it's easy. And you're like, okay. How so? And they're like, block dag, bitch. And I'm like, fuck. Ugh, this hits so hard. I'm like, why the fuck am I? Why am I still in BTC? Honestly, like that was my question. And I think that the conversation is usually like, okay, if we're going to talk about traditional investments, because I have done those, and you know, I held money and whatever, and I had a good amount of money, and I was like, yeah, Caspa's probably the best choice I could do. And then I started talking to people, and I started telling people, like, you need to buy some Cas. And they're like, oh, what's Cas? I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do a little thing where I send you some Cas, and you're going to see how fast it is. And then you are going to understand that the government's not involved. And we don't have to talk about this. And they're like, holy shit, that was so fast. I'm like, have you seen Wells Fargo? Have you seen Visa? Have you seen all these other structures that keep you from your money for at least 3 days? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, now you have it. It was under 2 seconds. And they're like, we have that technology. I'm like, yeah, we do. But it is on the Caspa standard. And they're like, what?
Hell yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
So let's fucking go. And they're like, well, this is the future. I'm like, yeah, it is the future. But it's in your hands right now. So why don't you
Right
use it?
now.
Right now, right now. And we haven't even gotten to 32 in Dag Night. I'm like, holy shit. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, when 32 and Dag Night come out, KII is going to like jizz all over themselves. It's going to be ridiculous because they're gonna be like, oh, I made the best choice. And they're gonna make so much fucking money. And like with energy, like that's what they're doing. Like that's what they're dealing with is energy companies. It is so wild because they're like, oh well, you know, we need to have the green narrative, and I'm like, okay, all right, fine, yeah, we can have that. But the whole deal here is that you don't have to pay 1 to 3% on your money when you send it. When people
Right.
charge their card, the business always gets 1 to 3% that they have to pay, right? So and of course, like that's a good deal because you're giving that and it's very small. But now you don't have to have that. Holy shit, man. 1 to
Yep.
3% is
Yep.
huge. It is huge when you have the transactions that are involved with Shell, with DNL, with these big companies. It's just fucking wild, man. So now businesses get to keep their own money. I don't know if you knew this, but they used to have to lobby to keep their own money.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
what like if you're retarded, you won't do this. But if you're half smart, I mean like just waking out of autism, then you'll probably do this.
We're just waking up to it all. That's what's happening, right? It's just the
And it's
world's
great.
just waking up to it all.
Yeah, it's all here for us to take, and as it builds, there's going to be even more room for throughput. And I've set it at 10, right? I've set it at 10. It's too fast. Caspa's too fast. There's no congestion to raise those fees. But then again, we're so early that allowing everything to exist this way, because I am concerned about the miners, right? Like I want the miners to get their money back, and with low fees they don't get their money back. But that's okay because as you see, miners aren't going away. Hash rate's coming back. Nodes are opening up. We are
I
we
turn
are
on my
at
miner, bro.
yeah. I mean we're at this um we're at this impetus. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. I have to take.
Yeah, and what I do think, to speak to, I love how Buffalo comes at it. It's very intense and very much telling us where he stands and how he sees it. And I think it's lovely to get that perspective, right? I do think it's necessary too to be able to see and feel somebody is passionate about what this protocol can do. Um, and you take a look at the market. I see my man Chris up here from Blockchain Banter. How you doing, buddy? And definitely a big part of the reason as to why Kaspa went up 20% yesterday. I 100% think the show yesterday played a part in it. Um, but the other side of it too is I think it signals where, again, if you take a look at where the world is in a macro sense, and a lot of the things that Buffalo spoke about, where, hey, there's divide and people thinking of things this way and looking at things that way, and trying to find the fix within the system. The markets are a measure of what is going on within the system. So I brought up liquidity earlier, right? On the blockchain banter that we ran last week, somebody came up and said, hey, do you know what liquidity is? I mean, most people don't really think about that, but the system's running out of money, and that's what's really happening within the system. And the fact that Casp is performing and is able to go up 20% like this just shows its potential within a market that doesn't have a lot of money being injected into it right now. So it shows that there's a shift happening. People are starting to recognize it, and it is undervalued right now. The fact that it's at only a $1 billion market cap, or 1.5 billion, whatever it's at, and that it even gets shine from a $2 trillion asset, like a Bitcoin, shows you, okay, there's something else here. And that's really what spoke to me, right? Because I've shared this before. I know a lot of people come into this space thinking, an investment, how do I make money? Because the system that you come from extracts your money, and whether you know that or not, that is what's happening. And when you come across something like this, and I'll just again speak from my perspective, it's like this is about wealth. This isn't about profit for me. This is about wealth preservation. I did have $1 million in a checking account, and I was like, okay, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be there for that much longer. So let me go out and figure out what I got to do next. And you think about that, right? Like having, I wish people could feel what it's like to have that in your account, and have that to your name, because it'll show you the type of person that you are. I've seen people with money like that fucking ruin themselves. And then I've seen the other side of it, where it's like you don't hear from people like that. They're the same people, right? And for me, it was an opportunity to check myself and what my values were, and what was really important to me. And I can tell you, I've gotten to experience a lot. And it doesn't, I'm in a place now where it doesn't matter. That's why I love having these conversations with Caspians, because price rarely comes up. It rarely fucking ever comes up. And it's super cool when this happens, when it goes up 20%. Because then you really get what people are about. You really see why people are in this. And yeah, maybe you come into this initially like, okay, let me have it be an investment, and hopefully it goes up. But my bag is down still significantly. I found Caspa in May of 2024. I average bought in somewhere in the 16-15 cent range. That is lowered a little bit. But like, I'm down a significant amount. And my conviction and what I see is stronger than ever, because I see what's happening at the base layer of this. I see where this is going. And I saw this happen with Bitcoin. I've shared this before, but I bought a lot of Bitcoin in 2021. I did not see that go in the green until 2024, right? So this is super important to have a long-term perspective, not put in what you absolutely need to live off of, and really feel what this this new protocol that's available to anyone. It doesn't fucking, you don't have to, bro, to get, I think I shared this last week, Bishop, right? Where to get into
Yeah.
deals, right? I'm in a real estate deal. You have to be what's called an accredited investor. You have to make at least $250,000 a year. And I remember finding out about that. I'm like, that's fucking bull. Oh, okay. That's why I've never been able to invest into this shit until later in my life. Right? People don't know that. You can literally I don't give a shit, put $100 into this if that's all you got. and hold on to it and then come feel what this shit's about, you're gonna benefit long term from it. You're gonna want to move more of your time and energy into it. And moving money into it is moving more of your time and energy.
Yeah, I sent you a voice note the other morning, and thank you for picking up for me. Nothing was wrong, kids. Uh, but no, I sent you a voice note the other morning. Like I was in my feelings as soon as I woke up. Casper dropped a little four, and I was like, this is the capitalism side of me that says I need to get in now so I can drive to the
Mm,
future and be the one that has instead of the have not because and I shared with you, and I'll say it right. I've been lucky enough. I never bought above 10% or 10 cents. I bought everything I bought is below that, and I've been DCAing from 9.5 to I think I'm at like 6 now. But that's also with limited funds, right? Like um, I after talking to you, of course, because you are Pastor Juan and you bring us all to the Church of Kaspa and sovereignty. Um, you just explained to me like today is not tomorrow, right? Like
yeah.
I fully understood in that moment. Like I truly like, I'm not hurting for money. I don't need anything from anyone. Um, but I also don't have to invest, and that's what was getting me right. Like I'm not even making $100 right now, so I can't put 50 in Casper, and I was upset about that. And then the way you put it to me, I was like, oh okay, yeah. So like when I make 30 grand on a real estate deal next year, I can take 10,000 from that and put that into Caspa easily,
There you go.
easily, because one cast is one cast. I just can't buy as many casts then as I will now. Or maybe I could. Maybe it stays at three for a while because that's just the foundation it needs to be at while we build up. And it's so cool to kind of just understand, like you said, regardless of where it's at, the community is ready to preserve the foundation. And that's where the conviction comes from.
Yeah, brother. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to go up and to the right in terms of nominal turns. So once you come to that conclusion, it literally doesn't matter. Obviously people talk about, and we have Bitcoin as an example of it, right? Like, oh, I wish I would have gotten in earlier. But you hear it with Bitcoiners, where they bought at $1 or whatever, $30, and they still think they should have more. And to me that speaks to not really understanding what this does for you at a foundational level, right? Because just to share a little bit more on what Bishop had talked to me about, he's like, oh, should I, man, I kind of want to take out a loan. I'm not that you were going to do it, but to me it was
Credit
important
cards,
to be
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah, like
bro, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's not about if you can look at this as something that is an alternative to storing your energy in a more productive way so that you can literally live your life full out. Like that's why we've come together on this show. That's what this show is about for me. It's like I am living what I dreamed about when I was a kid. I'm gonna fly over to London. I'm gonna be hanging out with Chris on Monday, Tuesday. Like I get to fucking do whatever I want, and it's not like, again, I did not set these. Oh, I need to make this amount. I need to be this way. It literally,
Freedom.
yeah, it was literally about just understanding that my energy preservation means everything. And as long as I protect my energy, I will be able to do all the things that I need to do, right? And that has compounded over the years. So coming from that base, right? Don't even look at the nominal price in it. Look at what you want to come, like you just said, Bishop. When you sell that real estate deal and you have 10 grand, you're in a position of strength. You're like, oh, 10
right,
grand. You're not going to give a
right,
shit if that does dip to 3,000,
right,
right? And again, that would just be a signal that you were super early to it, right? But
right.
trust me, in something like this and where it's at and where it's going and what it's building towards and the potential of it, in nominal terms, you're going to be taken care of beyond what you need, right? So if you come from that place, that's a place of abundance. That's a place of,
1,000%.
okay, cool. Like I don't need to. You don't need to leverage yourself necessarily. That's where people get in
Right,
trouble. They go a
right.
little. They mortgage their future, and you can't ever be fucking present. So again, if it's $50 that you can put in fucking $50 and feel that. For example, for my ex-wife, I put $50 in Bitcoin. She still doesn't understand it, but she knows that $50 that I put in Bitcoin in 2018 is $900 now, and now she's DCAing. She still doesn't understand it, but she's like, no, I'm not going to do that Kaspa thing because it's gone down over the past year. But I'll keep buying the Bitcoin. I'll keep buying the Bitcoin, right? So she still does that, and that's all good. No hate there, right? But the point is, right? It's just like digging a little bit deeper on what this is and what it can do for you, because it literally is an alternative to what we have to vibe in right now in the world, you know?
For sure. No,
Oh
it's so well put.
no,
Since
no,
we got since we got 5 minutes, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Buffalo.
Oh, okay, all
No,
right.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
let me get some.
this is kind of like I'm just coming off the fly. Like proof of push. Like okay, we're gonna pop right. Proof of push. That's fine if you want to live that way, but this is not to go too hard into it, but when you have something, I want you guys to like look at this exactly for what it is. The network doesn't go down as long as the internet is alive, right? We had the AWS, we had the cloud share, we had this whole shit get pushed down, right? So that will continue to happen on the Caspa standard. I mean, I don't know who named this live on the Caspa standard, but I'm just saying on the Caspa standard. And with the with the Caspa standard, the people who are here, right? They understand. They want freedom, and they want information back and forth. They want transactions. They want all the things. We can't have that today. I mean, Chris can speak to this. When people are trying to take your money and govern it, it doesn't feel very good, Hutchinson, does it? Exactly. It's not good. So our energy gets pushed into this, but you have to understand the protections that the absolute protections that Caspa has. It makes no sense. And I want you we're going to pretend for like 1 second that I'm a BTC maxi. Why would you want Caspa? It's a shit coin. The number don't go up. Bro, do you understand the absolute army that is behind this? Do you understand the absolute fucking seals that are like, nope, this is going to go up because we choose it to go up? Because we are in a position with the greatest technology. I don't think you guys understand. This is the greatest technology. When Dagnite comes out, it will completely transform the monetary system. This is why Visa is getting in now. When it gets here, and we are early, when it gets here, it will transform the entire money system. So when you have a complete transfer between cash and digital asset, would you like to go buy potatoes or would you like to invest? I guess that's the question. It's going to be so radical. One, Bishop, you and I both know it's going to be radical. The only thing that we're uncomfortable with is opening up our cold accounts and being like, wow, why do I have so much money? I didn't deserve this. What the fuck is going on? It's because we're early. Because, boys, I'm going to tell you right now, what's going to happen with the Dagnite and the majority, if they don't die, the majority, because I know Tao will do this, of people going on the Casper rails is going to be fucking wild. And I'm not saying,
Coming.
hey, I'm not saying like, oh, let's just spend our Caspa. Yeah, like when I spend Caspa, I go buy Caspa. I think Chris was talking about this. I go buy Caspa immediately, and then I go spend it because, of course, there's some volatility. But I'm going to tell you right now, dude. Not only, and this is part of the culture. This is part of the culture that is Caspa, is that we use it and we save it. And
Right.
people are like, well, then, why would you save it or why would you use it? It's no, 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 no. You don't understand. This is the culture. We don't want fiat anymore because it is a degradation. It is
No, we
pure
want to,
degradation.
yeah, we want to create the ecosystem that allows us to use and save at the same time, where Bitcoin is in the, oh well, if I hold it, it's using it. Since Juan has a
Yeah.
hard out at 2, I don't know if he can still hear us. He walked away from the camera, but if we can give him an opportunity to just sign off, I can give you guys an extra 10-15 minutes on my side as well. Um, but while he's away from the camera, I just wanted to say that. But no, I mean, look, this is a great conversation. This is exactly what we're here for. Um, Juan, are you there? I saw you unmuted. Maybe not. But yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we're here to do. And as you said, like once things start to navigate to the actual rails of Caspa, like for instance, Vivor, they're operating in conjunction with LivePeer for the engine that it takes to broadcast, right? But every transaction that's made benefits the base layer of Caspa. It will keep that going, and that's what we're
110.
here for. Yeah, that's what we're here for. And look, and I love the Vivor guys, so I don't even want to say this so they can hear me. But if something better comes along than Vivor, something a little bit more complete that's already like it doesn't happen without Vivor existing first. And the ego that it would take for them to like be appreciative or even adapt and grow. That, like I said it earlier in the show, like they have adapted and grown so much. They added Casilla messaging because you couldn't see the chat if you just went away from the page. Now you come back, the chat's there forever. Now they're going to look at integrating having the video there forever. Therefore, they go from Twitch to YouTube in one development. Hell yeah. Like they are growing so fast, and they are going to be the premium service, in my opinion, on Caspa. And I'll it was funny because Onion had said something, of course, the way Onion does.
Yeah.
But he did like a semi shit post about imagine OnlyFans on Caspa.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
no, I remember that.
yeah, but I was going back with the Vivor guys. Like, yeah, imagine that. Think about someone on OnlyFans, and it's not just adult content on there, but for the sake of, let's say a creator has their own NFT collection. That's how you subscribe to their page, right? And then you have to donate cash just to unlock the clips of them performing, right? And
Hmm.
or you have to, having the pay-per-view model on a Vivor as well, to where, I mean, for the sake of, like even the Vivor guy said, like as long as you're not breaking the rules, like no laws are being broken. Man, real bummer to get cut off on Twitter Spaces at that moment. But just to cap the thought off there, it was about how the revenue generated from content like an OnlyFans, that right now I believe is a 70-30 split, where 30% goes to the platform